Welcome to episode 54 of The Leap Home. The Leap Back.
In this week's episode, Sam and Al switch places after the traumatic leap at the end of season 3. Returning to the present day with a little help from Back to the Future Part 2, Sam meets his friends and Donna, the wife Al had hidden from him after his memory failed. Although Sam has no plan to recover Al from the past, a shocking turn of events forces his hand. Unable to both save his friend's life and remain in 1999 with his wife, Sam is faced with a painful decision between love and friendship, as we discover where his heart truly lies.
You flat-footed egg-sucking chicken turd!
Good afternoon, Ian. Have you ever sucked a flat-footed chicken turd egg before?
My gran used to have a tea towel that said, you can't teach your granny to suck eggs.
Oh, you can. Especially your granny.
Well,
although eggs, I'm not sure, mind you.
Deeply inappropriate. We are finally back.
We've not been lazy. We've been busy.
We've been working very hard. We produced 10 episodes of the Poker Face podcast, which you can check out on the original Columbo podcast feed at columbopodcast.com.
We would encourage you to do so. Great show, I thought.
Yes, and the Poker Face itself was also good.
Very good.
Quick shout out to our social accounts. We are at Leap Home Podcast on Twitter and I think Facebook. I can't even remember where else we are. Instagram.
Threads.
Well, I don't know if we are on Threads with this one.
Threads dead.
You can find the episodes on theleaphome.com, and as is traditional, each episode is available 1 week early on the Columbo Podcast Productions YouTube channel, which you probably know if you're listening to this on there, and now know if you're not.
Quite finished.
For now. Do you want to take a look at the episode?
Let's crack on.
I don't think there's any changes to the intro for this one.
No, we begin with the show premise, a recap of what happens.
And we don't add much to what we saw at the end of last season as Sam and Al leap into kind of a village square and Al's in military uniform.
Yeah, Sam finds himself on his back and still wearing his hospital clothes with Al standing beside the gun from Dawn's Early Light.
Yes, if you're a Columbo fan. Do we need to remind people what happened at the end of season 3?
Briefly, if you want to.
Okay, so Sam was in the body or in the persona of a mental institute inpatient, and he was struggling to remember who he was. In fact, he couldn't. He had past leaps coming into his mind. So they theorised, or Al theorised, that leaping under certain circumstances with electric shock therapy might restore his own persona, and it seems to have worked. However, there's a twist.
What's that?
Al finds himself to no longer be a hologram here.
That's correct. They are both a bit confused by where they are, but Sam works out something quickly and asks Al to walk towards him.
Yes, and he bumps into this gun. We can see that Sam has recovered his own personality. He recognises Al. He's generally aware of what's going on.
I think it may have been better if Sam had not recovered his own personality, as we've discussed in the past.
Well, certainly some elements of it.
Anyway, Al is freaked out by not being a hologram anymore.
His newfound solidity.
And even more so when he watches his friend pass through the weapon.
Indeed.
So it's not just that Al is not a hologram.
Sam is.
Yeah.
Yes. And we get a mutual oh boy before the credits roll.
They almost broke the fourth wall there. They sort of
you can look at the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not quite. No, we'll let them off. After the credits, we get a caption telling us it is June the 15th, 1945.
And a worried Al shouts for Gushy as he's having no luck with his hand link, while a less concerned Sam enjoys passing through things and messing around.
Yes, and Sam then figures out that not only is he the hologram and Al the leaper, so to speak, they're also further back in time than he has ever leaped previously.
Yeah, I mean, he realises that Gushy is in the future, and although he can't identify the exact date where they are, as you say, he understands it's further than his lifetime. Sam asks him when he was born.
Yes.
But they are both disturbed to discover his brain has been Swiss cheesed.
Yeah, I hate the overuse of this phrase, but yes.
And in fact, I think he says it's he gives the month and the day, but I don't think he gives the year.
Well, I've certainly noted down that it's 1934, so unless I've pulled that out of nowhere.
Okay, you might have pulled out your...
Unless he says it a wee bit later.
Maybe.
Anyhow, we find out here that as Al is forgetting stuff, Sam is remembering things.
Yeah, but before we get to that, Al can't remember his surname.
That's right. He thinks his surname is Beckett, which is Sam's surname. And Sam correctly informs him that he's Calavici.
Yes. Throughout this episode, he takes great delight in Al's uncomfortableness or...
Discomfort,
yes. Is that what I said?
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of plays fast and loose a bit with who remembers what, when, about which things.
Yeah.
Just whatever works for the scene, almost, at some points.
Yeah. Al screams again for Gushy, but the smiling Sam informs him that he can't hear him and Ziggy won't even be a consideration in his mind for another 50 years or so.
Yeah, Sam realises that he must physically be in the imaging chamber, and he's excited that he is finally home. However, he can't find the door.
Yeah, I mean, before we get to that, there's a couple of points here worth considering. The Rememberer, Sam does, the big breakthrough that they had was installing an ego into Ziggy. And at this, Sam slaps his hands as he realises that he's getting his own memory back. Al is more concerned that he has lost his, but Sam tells him not to worry, as the joint leap must have sort of merged their minds or parts of their beings together.
Yeah, it's just a theory at this stage, but they seem to take it as written for the rest of the episode.
Yeah. Well, I think Sam wonders what part of Al he has got in me.
Well, he'll find out quite soon.
Al again calls for Gushy, but Sam states that he doesn't exist in this year that Al has leapt into, and in any case, to communicate, he would need the hand link.
Which Al still has.
But as he speaks, it dawns on him that he is now the one, as you say, in the imaging chamber, and therefore, he's effectively home.
In theory?
No, in reality.
Physically?
Yes.
He just can't experience it just yet.
He smiles and wonders where the door is, but when he tries to take the hand link, he passes through and gets frustrated that he can't find the way out. And at this point, they both start shouting on Gushy.
Yeah, so Al's hand link has physically leaped with him. He still has it.
Yeah.
It's physically present, and Sam can't interact with it.
Now, who turns up at this point?
A milkman. Mike,
the milkman, in his truck, and he hobbles over to Al, who he recognises as Tom, and gives him a big energetic hug and a pat in the back.
Apparently, Tom is 3 years away in a German prisoner of war camp, but he's returned early.
Al is confused and he thinks that he's talking about Vietnam until Sam tells him to focus and remember that he is Captain Tom somebody who was in the Second World War.
Yeah, Sam tries to kind of help Al play along with this, but he's not really up to speed with what he's meant to be doing.
No, I mean, we've got the usual sort of three-way conversation, confusion, and Al has to pass off his hand link as some sort of new walkie-talkie that he's testing for the Pentagon.
Mike is outraged that so recently released by the Germans, he's already been given another task to fulfill.
But Sam gets him to change the subject by asking how she is, and this subdues Mike, who admits that Susan is okay, but she was shocked to find out that Al is still alive.
Yeah, apparently somebody who writes for the papers, and Ernie Pyle. Do you know about Ernie Pyle?
I do, we'll get to that at the end.
Okay, he's written a column detailing Tom's heroic actions, turning back without his battalion to cover them as they retreated until his tank was blown up with only him inside it.
Presumably a fatal incident.
They assumed so. Even President Roosevelt assumed so, reading the story as part of one of his traditional fireside chats.
And because of this, Mike says that Suzanne can't be blamed for doing what she did.
Al realises, I think perhaps drawing on his own memory a little bit, that Suzanne is going to marry somebody else.
He asks Mike when they got married, but is told that it's not actually happened yet. It's due in 2 days' time, which is quite convenient.
Yeah, but the mention of the date confuses Al, who thinks that today must be his birthday.
Which in turn confuses Mike, who knows when Tom was born. And Al has to, at this point, blame the travel, and he admits that he might be a little out of sorts. So Mike hands him a nice big bottle of, no doubt, full-fat milk and tells him that he will arrange a belly-busting celebratory breakfast at Kelly's, and he hobbles off.
I'm sure there's not that much harm can be done to him by one bottle of full fat milk.
No, it looks brilliant.
Yeah.
Old school,
Cream
nice
on
and
the
chilled.
top.
Yeah, I would have that.
He's told that Crown Point, which we assume is the village, is so proud of him, but he has a kind of a weird feeling.
Yeah, alone again, Al asks why he has this feeling, and Sam answers by explaining that it's deja vu relating to his own similar circumstances with his wife, Beth, which we have covered and the show has covered previously.
MIA.
Mm-hmm. And while he tries to not let this get to him, he does consider the parallel with his current situation.
But you know, it's weird that I've leaped into a guy that's sharing the same fate.
Well, you see, maybe that's why you leaped into him.
You mean to get him and this Suzanne together, maybe?
Yeah, or to keep them apart. See, without Ziggy, I don't know if Suzanne marries you or the guy that she's supposed to marry 2 days from now. I can't see a damn thing through this hologram.
What are you talking about? You're the hologram.
To you, yeah. But here in the imaging chamber, you and everything around you is a hologram to me. Don't you remember anything? Why doesn't Gushy just open the door? See, that's what I don't understand. He should be monitoring this situation and... Unless...
Unless? I don't think I'm gonna like this unless.
To leap together, we would have had to either been struck by lightning or been sitting at ground zero during an atomic detonation.
Oh, it was lightning.
Ah.
Lightning. I remember a big bolt just as we leaped.
Okay, well, see, the lightning strike could have been misread by Ziggy as a catastrophic collapse of the radium accelerator ring surrounding the imaging chamber. Ziggy would have automatically sealed the chamber to protect the project from radium radiation.
But when they realized that the ring didn't collapse, then they're gonna open the door.
Well, see, once the door has been sealed, it can't be reopened by Ziggy until the radiation half-life of the radium ring has expired.
Why do I feel this is gonna be a big number?
No, not in cosmic terms. See, it's 1,600 years.
How could you design a system without a failsafe?
Well, I didn't. If the door is sealed in error, it can be reopened from the inside.
Oh, well, thank God.
By using the handling.
I was beginning. The handling. Which I can't use for another 50 years.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
As you alluded to, that's one of the first sort of major Back to the Future nods, I suppose. It's a typical Back to the Future problem where they're back, but they don't have the technology, or the technology won't be invented for a number of years for them to leap out of that situation.
At this point, this opening scene has taken over a quarter of the entire episode's run length.
Yes.
So we get a wee skip to a little bit later in the same sort of square, and we get a voiceover of Sam thinking.
He laments that his return home has turned into a nightmare as we see him walk about the cafe like Marcel Marceau and appreciating the saucy calendar on the wall.
Which says July, even though we've just been told it's June the 15th.
Yeah, but I mean, a few of those pictures you might want to have a sneak peek.
Just turn on to the next one,
see what it is. Saucy, I wonder, that's not an American term. Maybe the American...
Risque.
Risque, yeah.
Al is served breakfast by Kelly and catches sight of his own reflection. It's kind of similar to the one that we saw in the racism episode.
Yes.
With the mirror above the counter.
Of course. Yeah, he's a strapping, good-looking young man. And I think at the same time we see Mike the Milkman furtively using the telephone.
Yes, and we get a standard post-leap confusion of Al asking for something that's not contemporary.
They should knock this in the head.
Yeah, but it's been done.
Yeah, I've got here, not this trope again.
Sam reminds him that there were no sweeteners for coffee in 1945 and then makes a pervy comment about Kelly.
Yeah, he likes the size of women's bazingas in the 1940s. I'm not sure if they were any bigger, if it was just the bras that they wore.
It's all padding, isn't it?
Well, not all. I mean, some of those stars from back in the day were impressive. Anyway.
Sam is horrified at himself, having made this comment.
Yeah, he covers this request by claiming that sweet and low is a ration alternative used by...
Al does, yes.
Yeah, Al does by the army. And Kelly then remarks with a smile that she could use some, as Mike consumes all the sugar that she has, and he mentions that he gives her, or he slips her, a pound of butter or whatever it is every week, and she, I think, then replies that she didn't think she was
Swapping it for sugar.
Well, no, giving something else for the sugar. Or the butter.
Yeah.
Maybe
Mike and Kelly are married, I think it's implied.
Yeah, or certainly partners.
And we find that out later on.
Uh-huh.
When Al talks to Suzanne.
Yeah. Maybe it's just me, but that whole reference between the two of them there, I couldn't help but think of Last Tango in Paris. But anyway, maybe that.
Sam leaps in with another inappropriate comment of his own.
What's that?
He says if all it takes is a pound of butter, that he's got a dairy farm back home, before stopping himself, covering his mouth and telling Al it's all his fault. And he's obviously acquired the lecherous side of Al's personality during the co-leap.
Yeah, I think he says, you got a filthy mind. I mean, he knows that.
Yes, but he's now experiencing it for firsthand.
But all the confusion and disgust is interrupted by the sort of breathless arrival of Suzanne, who practically jumps on Al and kisses him passionately.
You've quite correctly skimmed over the other trope.
What was that?
Al talking openly to Sam, and them thinking it's part of another conversation. And
I think, Mike and Kelly, they watch on happily, big smiles as they two get down to it.
It's quite apparent that Mike is not that fond of Suzanne's new partner.
Clifford. No one is.
No.
He's great.
Apparently he developed flat feet in a sort of Donald Trump style, bone spurs type thing, to get out of fighting in the war, which came about only after Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. Sam is himself enjoying a close-up of the action until Mike claims that he knew that Tom's return would put the kibosh on Clifford.
Yeah, but Suzanne defends him and insists that he feels terrible about not being able to fight and does all he can to support the war effort, including a scrap metal drive, which the governor has given him a citation for.
But Mike points to Al's real medals in response, although Kelly cuts through all this and states that with Al being back, he is the one she will now marry. Now, it's quite, making these decisions.
No, but it's obviously they've maybe been holding their tongue a bit on Clifford, and now they feel that they're maybe free to express how they truly feel.
Sure, but it's not really their position. I mean,
No, but I think they've maybe got very strong opinions here.
Oh, that without a doubt. I mean, Suzanne can change her mind. Maybe she prefers Clifford.
Maybe she does. Time will tell. However, Al at this point accidentally reproposes to Suzanne, which clears things up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think at first Suzanne is reluctant to agree with the new direction that Mike and Kelly are forcing her on. But as soon as Al utters "marry me," she agrees, and that's the end of that.
Yeah, well, I think you understand it's a bit of a shock for her. This guy's been away for many years, and she literally thought he was dead.
Yeah. So anyway, she agrees with a kiss, which is caught by the angry Clifford, who has entered the cafe and is not happy that his soon-to-be wife is currently being ravaged.
No, but Mike and simultaneously Sam are willing to stand up to him.
Yeah, I mean, Mike gets all aggressive and takes pleasure in informing him of the new arrangement, while Sam makes constant irritating quips. He's a bit of a pain in the arse in this episode.
Yeah, not just this episode. Anyhow, it is very clear nobody, apart from Clifford, wants Suzanne to marry Clifford.
No, because he pleads with her to see sense and refers to Al as a ghost from the past that she has outgrown.
And he also wants to know what he's supposed to tell his parents.
Yeah, well, that's a point. He accuses Al of having some nerve appearing back 2 days before the wedding, which sends Mike into a rage, as we heard at the top.
We find out that Mike has got one leg here because he kind of hurples over towards Clifford to confront him.
Yeah, I mean, he stumbles because of this and he can't quite back up his hard man persona.
No, and Clifford says that though he may not have been personally a prisoner of war or given a leg for his country, he's not any less of a man. And that those who stayed behind made sacrifices too and didn't get any glory, but Al notes that all they got was the women.
Yeah, it was a nice line.
Tapping into his own experience.
Of course. So he makes a half-hearted threat, which Al takes him up on by claiming that after Kelly's breakfast, he could beat Mike Tyson. Stop with this. Stop it.
Yeah, I've done this too much.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sam realises what's going on.
Yeah, and against his advice not to do this, and that he is not the person who married Beth, they all step outside.
Yes, and outside Mike reminds Al to be careful that Clifford boxed at Princeton, which is not correct.
No, it was Yale, but he beat someone from Princeton. Yeah, that's not exactly the mean streets, is it?
No. Al notes that Clifford's feet don't look too flat now, And when he looks down, he pulls off Sam's patented spinning kick from Heart of a Champion to knock out the bigger man.
Yeah, which shocks everyone, including Al. So that must be obviously Sam's
Yes,
input
it's the
here.
transfer over, yeah.
Yeah, and Susan is suitably impressed.
Yes. A bit later on, Al is in Mike's milk float.
Yeah, we see Mike drive him to his home and mention the Cherry Buster convertible that he has stored for him in his barn and that he'll bring round later on.
He asks whether a one-legged man could pull off that same move, but Al's pretty supportive. He says there's no doubt, and the worst that could happen is he ends up on his butt.
Not really the worst, is it? He could end up being stomped on.
Yeah, he could lose his other leg.
Yeah. Anyway, of course, Al doesn't know which house is his, and after Mike points it out and drives off, Al is disappointed that he doesn't react as he would have liked to when a very buxom blonde strides past
For no apparent reason.
From nowhere. It's almost like a dream sequence. And he blames Sam Hank for his pure thoughts.
We never see her again.
We don't know. I'd like to have seen more of her. Yeah, so he says that this is Sam's pure thoughts, but we know Sam doesn't have pure thoughts. Sam's got creepy thoughts. Al wears his thoughts on his sleeve, but Sam's the one you have to watch, this more sinister one.
Yeah, she obviously didn't look vulnerable enough for Sam's instincts to override Al's.
In any case, Al opens the unlocked door, and as he is appreciating the small town attitudes due to this, he gets a fright from the grinning Sam, who has some initially good news for him.
I know how to open the chamber door. I designed Ziggy with a backdoor code so that I could override any command, even one dealing with catastrophic failure. All we have to do is get the code to Gushy.
Oh, well, that should be easy enough. All we have to do is wait half a century.
Well, in a sense, yes, but for us, it'll be instantaneous. Now, we've got to figure out what the date is where I'm at today.
September 18th, 1999.
Your Swiss cheese brain remembers today's date?
My fifth wife is suing me for more alimony, and that's the court date. There's some days you don't forget.
Okay. We deliver a letter to Gushy on September the 18th, 1999.
Who's gonna wait 54 years to deliver a letter?
The post office. And my dad's lawyer, Doc Krosnoff. We mailed Doc Krosnoff a letter, right? With, say, $100.
For the stamp.
No. It's 1945. $100 will do very nicely. We mail him a letter with $100 and instructions to have the code delivered to Gushy on September the 18th, 1999.
That could work.
It's got to work.
What if it doesn't?
Look, we're never going to find out unless you put the letter into the...
What's the matter? Sam? You all right?
I don't know.
Are you running out of air?
No, there's enough air in the imaging chamber to sustain me for 6 months. I'd die of thirst first. I'm getting my memory back, Al.
All of it?
Oh, my God. Why didn't you tell me?
I couldn't.
What?
I couldn't.
Drop the letter into the mailbox.
And at this point, Sam shrieks and does his silly run through for Donna.
Phoebe run.
Yeah.
There's a number of questions here.
Yeah, and there's also just the fact that it's a complete Back to the Future rip-off, that solution.
Yes, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Second thing is, why is the door opening now? Surely they got the letter in the morning.
Yeah, but until... yeah. Oh, it's one of these things, isn't it? Let's not. Any other questions?
Yeah, the other one was, this doesn't make sense, that Al... So Sam's upset that Al didn't tell him about Donna.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't tell him about his brother or his family. He still remembered it all by himself. Most of the stuff Sam's remembered, he's remembered himself.
True.
So it doesn't make sense that the way they play this, like Al was able to withhold this from him. Not only that, when they started out, he didn't marry Donna. So, and let's just come back to this at the end, the whole question of when did he marry Donna? Because I've got
a few
thoughts about that, but we'll come back to that at the end of the episode.
Okay, so we're now in the imaging chamber. He tentatively walks from it into a scene from Bill and Ted.
Can we just stop and talk? This must have been quite exciting for people the first time they saw it.
Yeah, you can imagine it would have
They've been watching this show for 3 years and now, here's the imaging chamber and the...
Yeah, I think that's, you have to appreciate that. It's not quite as significant to us.
No, I mean, we've seen it before, and it's not brand new TV, but
And it's also not Terry Hatcher, which is a disappointment.
That's always a disappointment when somebody's not Terry Hatcher. But this whole setup must have been like, oh, I can't believe we're finally getting to see this. We're getting to see Quantum Leap, we're getting to see Ziggy, we're getting to see Gushy. Oh, we saw Gushy once before, but he was never in a scene with Sam, so we've seen him with Sam for the first time.
Yeah, no, it would have been quite the highlight, I would have thought. So he embraces his wife and emotionally apologises for forgetting her, but she knows that it wasn't his fault, and they kiss as all their colleagues watch on. Now,
they're literally watching. They're standing in a circle, staring at them. It's kind of weird.
So she's been watching him sleaze and take advantage of vulnerable women the whole time. I think that's actually a real personality.
Do they get to see? So whatever Al's seeing in the imaging chamber, do they get it on screens outside?
I'm not sure.
They should.
Yeah,
you think they would set it up like that so they can just invite folk around?
But what would they see?
Whatever Al sees, I suppose.
Really?
Well, that's what's in the imaging chamber, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Al's seeing it as a hologram.
Sure.
So that could be projected into a TV screen, you would think.
So a lot of the time it'll just be Al looking at
women. He's thinking he's getting away with it, and they're like, oh, he's done it again. Anyhow, Gushy now embraces Sam and tells him that the letter was a brilliant idea.
No, he was copying Back to the Future from just a few years earlier. So
yeah, really soon before this, yeah.
But no, Back to the Future would be in this universe. I mean, it's that timeline. So if that's meant to be just normal...
And it was also a massive, massive hit. So anyone interested in this genre would have seen it. Almost certainly. They're not going to think, oh, this is a great idea.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about Gushy.
Oh, within the storyline.
Within the storyline.
Oh, we've established that it's a parallel reality, so maybe they didn't make it.
All right, okay.
Anyway. Yes, and then there's a cut here. So Tina says something that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
About him sounding like Al.
Yeah.
It's because they cut a line where he says something lecherous.
Ah, okay. He turns at this point to greet Verbena, and then Tina, with her futuristic light-up earrings, is also giving a little hug or a kiss.
Some folk wear kind of flashy, lighty-up watches. I assumed they were communications things that Ziggy talked to them, but I don't know.
It's very sort of Star Trek, isn't it? This is their perception of what the future would be like.
Everyone's in tinfoil.
Yeah.
Get the tinfoil.
But I mean, I don't know, it's just...
But then we've already seen Al's outfit, so we kind of have an idea of what they think the future fashion is.
I'm just not sure how much effort's went into that. Like in the 90s, what will the future look like? Oh, flashy earrings, really?
And Tina's a little bit of a trope, isn't she, for a girlfriend of Al's?
Yeah, she's a bit of a sort of dolly bird type.
Yeah, they didn't break any expectations.
What is Tina? What's her job?
She's just Al's girlfriend.
Why is she there?
Because Al's in danger.
Really?
I think she's been called in. I don't know.
Okay.
But apparently she's having an affair with Gushy.
Yeah,
later on. Anyway, their attention at this point turns to Al when he gets mentioned. Ziggy's programming is limited to Sam's lifetime. That makes sense in the circumstances.
Yeah, they have, or she has no data for 1945, but they've been loading...
Wikipedia's not been invented yet.
But they've been loading it up with information as fast as possible, but it's going to take a few days before it can come up with a leap objective.
We find out that Ziggy has a bit of a spunky personality.
Yeah, okay, so Sam then has a conversation with this, when you say snarky machine, during which the sassy system informs Donna that she's in for a good time as Al has had an effect on Sam. That's quite a nice dig at Sam's just, you can imagine, his very vanilla, yes. How was it for you? Right, okay, it's now we do this.
We never mention this again.
Yeah.
Next Thursday, 7 p.m.
Yeah, Sam would be, I'm guessing, would just be terrible in the sack. Just be so bland.
He'd be so scared of offending.
Oh, yeah. Anyhow.
Yes, but Ziggy knows that that'll change for this one night only.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Ziggy isn't able to come up with any sort of hypothesis for Al's situation, saying that she will need 11.6 hours.
Yeah. She also comes across as quite creepy and a bit sinister.
Yes.
I've noticed
like
here,
Eyes.
like a serial killer on the phone. That way, it's like a bit like Scream, that type of...
It's kind of like, or a forerunner of Landru from that Star Trek episode when he had enslaved the whole planet.
Ah, yes.
Sam says that Al may not have 11.6 hours, but Ziggy isn't programmed to feel guilt and could not care less. I thought it was quite interesting as well that even though Ziggy's got a female voice, which is Deborah Pratt,
yes.
I don't mention that later on, but I'll say it now, Sam still refers to Ziggy as he.
Does he?
Yeah, and right now.
That's weird. If you're going to give her a female voice, call her she.
I think Deborah Pratt said she thought her voice was androgynous.
It's not, no.
No. She's also played a woman on this show previously.
Anyway, yeah, they try to convince her to provide some information, but she just tells them to come back in 11 hours, and that reminded me of The Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
She signs off, and Sam laments giving her Barbara Streisand's ego. Well known, I think.
Back to Crown Point, where Suzanne is trying to get it on with Al in a car, but for some reason he is reluctant.
Now, I've got a number of questions about this. This is a very stereotypical 40s, 50s, happy days type, parking a lover's lane type
Dogging.
place. Dogging. And a convertible. How old are these people? This is the type of thing you might do when you're 16 and you both get
These
parents
guys
at
are in
home.
the 30s or something like that.
Yeah,
aren't
why do you need to go to Al's house?
they? Yeah,
And you can do all sorts.
whatever you want.
You can do the lot. I mean, if that was my first time back there, I would be like, do you know what? We've got a bed, we've got a house.
Maybe they just went for a drive and then she's taking advantage of him when they
No,
parked.
but they're there all night. I'd be like, listen, let's just hold off for 2 seconds, back down the road, let's get it on.
He tells her anyway that his head is messed up, and she says probably due to the war. That's a fair enough assessment. Kelly told her that it took months before she and Mike could get it on after he came back with his leg missing.
Before that, he doesn't like her response to him saying that he's having problems because of the impact of war, and she says, "Oh yeah, it happens to all the boys."
Right.
And he's like, "What do you mean all the boys? How do you know?"
Yeah, so she explains Kelly told her about Mike. He looks uncomfortable. I feel like they're overplaying this because it's not like Sam's completely asexual.
No,
He's not.
it's
He
this.
might have got a bit of Sam's personality, but it's not going to make him completely oblivious.
I am sure I've mentioned this before, but it's what normally happens when you have like a body swap movie and you get the adult acting like the kid.
Yeah.
But if it's, say, a 12-year-old kid, they overplay it and they act like a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
It's they don't quite get it right.
Yeah. Anyway, Al continues with his dissatisfaction as he figures out that Suzanne had been coming here to Lover's Leap.
Yeah, she puts her foot on it again by revealing that it was months before she saw Kelly and Mike up there. She says, again, what do you mean? What are you doing up at Lover's Leap?
Yeah. So yeah, he realises she's been coming here with Clifford, but she, at this point, puts her foot down.
Yeah, and understandably and correctly so, she says, listen, I mourned, I was in tears for 2 years. And then a year after that, it took me before I came up here with Clifford.
Even though everyone, including Mike, she says, was telling her to get on with her life. I think that's quite a bit of a dig at Mike there, because he's obviously flipped on a dime, treating her like she's done something wrong.
Yeah, but again, it's Kelly. Why are Kelly and Mike up there? They're middle-aged.
I know, yeah.
They didn't have parked
Get a
car.
room. You literally have a diner with a room above it.
You're business owners and things like that. You're getting up with it. It's creepy because what you'll do is, I imagine that place will be full of like teenagers.
Aye, they're just trying to police the teenagers.
I don't. Yeah, if you're being generous.
Or looking in their windows,
Yeah.
rubbing away the steam.
Well, I say dogging in the States is a different ballgame when you've got a convertible. You don't quite have as much a shield
Well,
for the anyway. Where are we?
Al's actually quite impressed by this story that Suzanne tells him about how long she waited and how upset she was.
Yeah, but before that, but I think when she says that she thought he was dead, his initial reaction is quite selfish and he says, well, that's another reason why you shouldn't have been here.
Yeah. Before she goes into this.
What she expected to do for the rest of her life.
Yeah. She even tells him at this point that every time she kissed Clifford, she was thinking of him.
That seems to get him going. His mojo
We
gets...
get a voiceover from him telling Mr. Morals to take a hike as he launches himself onto Suzanne and into the car.
And we transition from one sickly scene to an even more nauseating one as we find Sam in his pants
Post-coital.
under the stars, nuzzling at Donna.
Now, what's so special about Magrez?
It's 54 light years from Earth. That little sparkle was born in 1945.
Sam, he'll be fine.
Yeah, maybe. Observing isn't the same as leaping, though. This may be more than Al can handle. God, I wish he was here.
I know.
So I could kick his butt.
What?
How could he not tell me about you after all these years? The woman I loved, the woman I married.
Because I asked him not to.
Why?
Could you have acted freely if you knew you were married?
I don't know. Everything that's happened in the last 4 years is fast becoming a blur. It's kind of like a reverse Swiss cheese effect. Was there anything that I did that hurt you?
No. No, I never once felt that you betrayed our love. Dr. Beckett. Dr. Beckett. Dr. Beckett.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt your first night of matrimonial bliss in 4 years, but I thought you might like to know that I can now project with 81.6% accuracy the reason Admiral Calavici leapt into Crown Point, Indiana.
Well?
It appears that Captain Tom Jarrett and Susan Elsinga committed suicide on June 15, 1945.
Did you like Donna's acting there?
It was certainly
Memorable?
well. I'm not even sure it qualifies as memorable. We got the message. Let's put it that way.
Where do we go to next?
Well, we don't really go very far, do we? Back to Quantum Leap.
Yeah, this is over a view of the glowing Quantum Leap headquarters.
Yeah,
That's
it looks radioactive. Doesn't it?
yeah. And as we see this, Sam narrates that his pre-leap memory has come back and life would be good if not for Al's predicament.
But he's also explaining that he's beginning to forget the things that he experienced whilst he was sleeping. It's just convenient, isn't it?
Very convenient, yes. Sam and Donna purposefully enter the room and are told by Gushy that the imaging chamber will be ready in about 3 minutes while Ziggy makes a crack about him and Donna having a quickie.
Yes. Ziggy then explains that the papers report there was a joint suicide committed by driving the convertible off Lover's Leap.
Now, I'm sorry, you've missed one major,
Critical point.
not critical point, but something that has to be discussed.
On you go.
We have a line from Ziggy when Sam orders her, he says, give me what I want. And with a Trump-like response, she says, oh, if you weren't my father. It's, oh, what? What?
Also, Ziggy's a computer.
Yeah, but still, who's programmed her to think like this? Sam.
Because that's what he wants. He
Yeah.
wants a daughter who fantasizes about him. Because that would be a vulnerable person.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, what did you say there?
Yeah, so just Ziggy says, papers report that this suicide happened by driving the car off the cliff at Lover's Leap. And Sam asks where Al is now. And Ziggy says he's either at the top or the bottom of the cliff.
Yeah. But she wonders why humans do things like this for love.
He tells her to read Shakespeare, which she quickly does.
And then apparently, understand.
Where's she accessing this Shakespeare from so quickly?
Internet.
But she can't get the news from 1946 for 11 hours.
No.
Okay. We go back to 1945. In the car, Al and Suzanne are post-coital themselves, relaxing with a cigarette.
Yeah, they're not dead, fortunately.
Not yet dead.
Nope. Suzanne is playing with his hand link.
Yeah, but he notes it's useless and won't work for 50 years before they kiss again.
Yeah, about to start round 2.
Sam shows up, however, and Al has to talk to him.
Yeah, he's being his complete square self again. He can't believe what he's done.
Yeah, but he's also upsetting Suzanne by talking to Sam, who isn't there. He has to explain that he has a shell shock. Suzanne goes off to pee and Sam tries to follow her.
Yeah, first, okay, so Al makes the excuse that he's to go and take a leak in order to speak to Sam. And she says, oh yeah, okay, I need to do the same myself. And Sam's conservative response is, oh, like, a woman peeing, that's just got... But then it's like, I'll go
What
on...
do you think he's going to see?
I don't know. Now, I don't want to get too graphic about this, but actually being a hologram, if you're into that type of stuff, would be probably quite convenient because you could get the benefits of being involved in that without the mess.
But would you get the benefits? Surely you wouldn't get any of the sensations.
I don't know, but listen, I don't know what you're after. You know?
I don't know how it works.
Tell me how.
But I assume
You sure?
that there's
okay, right.
some kind of warmth and wetness is part of
But
what
no,
they want.
whoa. Let's not be too explicit. Leave it up to the listeners. They knew what we were talking about. You didn't have to say that. I'm cutting that. That's not suitable for this type of audience.
What, warmth and wetness?
Anyway, enough. Stop saying warmth and wetness. Yeah, I mean, maybe that is a thing, right? I don't know. I don't. If you're into that, I don't know
why you even brought this
It
up.
might just be the fact that you can see it as
The fact is, why is he following her? He's not seeing anything, and it's just a
It
bit
might
weird.
be seeing something if you're lying down. That's what I'm saying. She's wearing.
It's too much.
That's too much. Stop it. Like I'm cutting.
I don't
this.
even think that's what the show's implying.
No, he just.
I think it's just a general lectury.
Yeah, it is. Oh, she'll have her pants down. I'm going to.
Anyway, Al calls him back and says he wants his own perverted thoughts back.
Yeah, and he also claims that what happened with Suzanne and him was a beautiful moment that he actually owes to Sam.
Yes, and Sam, referencing his own moment with Donna, says he owes him one too because he was able to.
Yeah, and Al says, what, just the one?
Entertain her, yeah. I think that's a line that maybe goes over the head of younger viewers.
Hopefully, like you're wet and moist and warm.
Nobody said moist.
Tingly.
Why are you bringing up moisture?
Don't know, drizzly. Anyhow, back to the matter in hand. Sam explains that according to Ziggy, he and Suzanne are involved in a double suicide that night. However, Al dismisses this based on his time spent with her, and they both consider that perhaps it was murder.
But let's take no precautions. She screams and they run straight over to her and Al is knocked out.
It's this TV studio type, the forest is basically, the trees are just one step away. It's like Star Trek. You just walk round the corner.
There's a cave. It's the same as the last week's cave.
They find Suzanne lying unconscious in a clearing, and despite Ziggy trying to warn them, as he bends over, he's also smacked on the head
That
by...
was quite Star Trek-y as well, the way Clifford did that.
Yeah, with Clifford, yeah. Sam then finds them both on the ground with Clifford standing over them. Futilely tries to kick at him.
Yeah, that's the word I've got as well, futilely.
Is it? Say it again?
Yeah, futilely.
Futilely. Okay.
Ziggy explains that Al will be unconscious for the next 8.7 minutes. However, it doesn't matter because he'll be dead in 5.2 minutes.
So Sam tries to rouse him, but is reminded about the concussion and in frustration asks her for something that he doesn't already know. And so she plainly tells him that Tina is having an affair with Gushy.
That was maybe the line of the episode.
Yeah.
Purely,
I think that's all. It's not just a throwaway line. I think what it does is that it makes Al more sympathetic because we've seen him effectively have an affair. But if we know that his wife's also having an affair...
Yeah, it takes away any guilt.
Yeah.
Okay. Barely reacting to that bombshell, Sam asks for a way to save Al and Suzanne.
Yeah, he looks down at his friend and apologises, stating that it should be him lying there in his place. And at this, he has an idea.
Marbles start to roll.
And passes back into the imaging chamber.
Gushy, activate the accelerator chamber. Set it for June 15th, 1945.
What?
Do it. Tina, get me a Fermi suit. Now, Tina. Ziggy?
Set the accelerator chamber.
How much time before Al dies?
1.6 minutes. Great legs, Doctor.
Sam, what are you doing?
Trying to save Al.
How?
By leaping into him.
What?
Donna, 4 years ago, my first leap was targetless, subject to a whim of fate. Since then, I think my subconscious has been working on the problem because I now know how to hit the bullseye. I can leap into Al.
Let me know
Thank
when
you.
alignment is in
He'll
phase.
leap back into the imaging chamber, where he was when the lightning strike Simo-leaped us, and I'll leap into 1945 where I can stop Clifford.
45 is 8 years before you were born. You can't leap earlier than your own lifetime.
When we Simo-leaped, some of our neurons and mesons obviously merged. Part of me is Al.
1 minute and counting.
How will you get back?
Use the retrieval program.
It didn't work the first time you leaped.
I've updated it.
Ziggy, what are the odds of retrieving Dr. Beckett?
9.6%.
Donna. I can't let him die.
And I can't let you go. Not when you've just come back to me.
How many times has Al saved my life?
23.
I don't care. It isn't fair, Sam. It just isn't fair.
I know.
Please don't leave me again. I don't think I could stand it if you left me again.
30 seconds. 29. 28.
Yeah, a few things I think worth talking about there.
First up, I always thought that maisons were French houses.
Yes. I can't remember in school physics or biology of mesons and neurons and all that type of stuff. And
Did you learn about neurons at school?
did we?
Electrons, we did.
Yeah.
Protons, we
Protons,
did.
that one's, yeah. Atoms,
electrons,
obviously. Yeah.
neutrons, but those were the
They had
parts
to
of
jump,
the atom.
you had
That's
to
not
jump
the same
between
thing.
each little layer like an onion.
I know, you got the little plastic cubes and you put them, or
Yeah.
the balls. No, that was something different.
Anyway,
yes, Donna.
yeah, I've got an issue with how they're writing her here. So we know that they're both incredibly intelligent scientists, geniuses, you would say, involved in this project. However, and they're losing each other. This relationship is potentially being lost. However, Sam, the man, has become all scientific now and not showing much emotion, whereas Donna has reverted to somebody
childlike.
Oh, I'm losing. I don't want to lose the man I love. I don't know. She should know. I mean, she is involved in this.
They strip out a bit of the complexity, don't they? I mean,
Yeah.
you understand from her point of view, the first time that he leapt, he didn't know what was going to happen. Okay, fair enough. This time now he knows there's a good chance he's not coming back and he's still choosing to leave her.
True.
So you can understand that would result in a number of complex emotions, but she doesn't really demonstrate a number of complex emotions. She just whines and then for no reason changes her mind and says, on you go. And he swears he'll be back, liar. They kiss, tell each other they love one another, and he enters the chamber.
Back at Lover's Leap, he arrives in 1945 as Al is about to be sent over the edge and manages to get out and knock Clifford to his death instead.
Yeah, he murders him.
That's my understanding.
That's unfortunate.
I mean, in fairness, I'm trying to think of all the sort of baddies in the show, but this, I mean, he's a maniac.
Yeah, he's like the guy on the train.
Yes.
He's bad like him.
Yeah.
A woozy Al exits the chamber showing no concern for Sam, but to be fair, he's probably concussed.
Probably, yes. He promises to tell Tina, who's fawning all over him, about it when they're in bed later on.
Yeah, so that
Because she'll be raging.
he's not too concussed for that. Anyhow, it cuts to Gushy
Yeah, he's like,
when he says that.
Damn it! I thought you were
gone.
you were ping ponging around the universe. That was well, that's what you get, Gushy.
So they run the retrieval program with this. Sorry, I've completely missed a point earlier on. So Sam says his subconscious can now target Al.
Yeah.
But he also tells him to set the date on the program. So which is it?
Yeah,
Are they setting the date and then within that date he's choosing Al as the person to leap into?
I think so. Yes.
Okay, but other times he just leaps without anyone introducing any dates to anything.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So as we say, the retrieval program doesn't work, and we see Sam pick up the dead hand link and realise what's happened.
Yeah, he starts to try and communicate with Gushy, but as he does, he either realises what has happened, like this leap hasn't been successful, or we're seeing his mind becoming sort of Swiss cheesed again. I'm not sure going forward how much of this knowledge retains.
Well, we do know because Al's about to tell us.
All right, okay, what does Al say?
So we jump back to 1999 where Al tells Donna that Sam did eventually leap after Suzanne woke up. And he's now a stand-up comic in 1956. That's not the next episode, it's one later in the season.
Okay, I couldn't remember. Was that not the one we saw? That was the magician one, if you remember.
Yeah, with the daughter.
The same idea, but wasn't
Very
it?
similar to what Al says here. Apparently, Al says Sam has forgotten this entire co-leaping, memory-swapping, body-shifting return
Again,
to the
quite
future.
convenient.
Very convenient and it completely defeats the purpose of this entire episode. So nothing has been learned.
No, but we've said it's, again, similar to Star Trek in the sense that at the end of each episode,
Let's
it's
just
a reset it.
Yeah. And who cares about these characters that we've just introduced? And
Well, we did mention in Star Trek, we had this same discussion, as this is how television has evolved. So today, good television has got lots of arcs. But back then, it wasn't so much the case. You had to, I don't know if the audience just couldn't handle it or not, but...
Well, the people in the studios didn't think the audiences could handle it.
Yeah.
And some people do just want to dip in and dip out and not have to follow 6 episodes in chronological order.
For sure. I mean, if you're watching...
Especially back when you didn't have planners and downloads and streaming and whatever else to pick your episode. You just
In
have to
fact,
watch what
thinking
was on
back,
that week.
I think we made this exact point in the Star Trek podcast.
At least a different audience, we're fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyhow, Donna, as you expect, tells Al that Sam can't do what he needs to do if he remembers her. Just like that. And Al is instructed to say nothing.
Yeah, she's confident that he came back once, he'll come back again. And then she asks Ziggy to point out or identify a star that's 43 light years from Earth.
That's the distance back in time that Sam is. So the light that's reaching Earth now left at the time where Sam is. And she tells Sam that she loves him, and we hear in the stars Sam say it back, Boke.
Yeah, it's a bit.
And that's the end of the episode. And the end of Donna, who we never hear of again.
Do we not?
Nope.
Okay, thanks for that spoiler.
It's not really a spoiler, so
No.
it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's a spoiler because I might be assuming that this will get tied up. Now I know
you'll
I'm
wait
gonna
every week.
I'll be disappointed with the ending. Maybe in the last episode they get married.
Well, maybe in the last episode.
Okay. Well, they are married.
They are married. Well, this is it. We need to unpack this whole Donna thing.
Do we need to?
So the implication, obviously, is that in that star-crossed episode at the start of season 1, he changed history.
Mm-hmm.
And she married him and not the other guy.
Yeah.
Which was left ambiguous deliberately, I think. So I don't know why they're resolving it in this way. But when did that happen? What does Al know? Does Al know both versions of the history? Does he only know that they married? Does that mean he forgot the leap? What does Sam remember?
I don't know.
What does Donna remember? Does she know that her life's been changed by Sam leaping into the past and changing things?
Don't know. I'm not going to try and answer it.
Do you think that Sam's even that committed to Donna?
Yeah, yes and no. When he wants to be. You know what he's like.
That's no. So my criticism here is if you're going to introduce a wife and not make her a main character, then what's the point? He's not only not, it doesn't have any impact on Sam because he's told not to remember her, or Al's told not to remind him. It has no impact on Al, doesn't have any impact. But it's just a throwaway thing.
I've thought the reason would have been that, in season 1, they wouldn't have known how long the show's going to run for. And I thought, this will be interesting if we bring his wife into it. So they've created that already. Now they're just trying to, they're using that as a sort of throwback. But it was never, the entire arc of the show wasn't detailed
this
and
relationship's
planned.
not important to the story.
No.
So it just seems to me like they should maybe have done this differently.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyway, it's an enjoyable enough episode. What I want to know is, what is the guy who went back to the mental hospital wearing if Sam's got his gown? Is he wearing Sam's original clothes?
Maybe.
Like the leaping suit?
Yeah. Or nothing.
Yeah, that'd be a shocker for them.
Yeah, well. But if you're in the hospital, nudie bodies isn't really a big thing, is it?
Well, the fact he was wearing a gown and then he got shocked and his clothes disappeared.
Yeah. That's yeah, fair enough.
And last thing I was going to ask you, do you think there's any other way that Sam could have saved Al?
No. I don't know.
The only one that I thought of is surely the guy, Tom, must have been in the waiting room.
Right.
Would they not have got him to leap into his own body? Would that not resolve the leaping?
Don't know, I'm hungry.
Too much thinking.
Too much thinking, yeah.
Okay, trivia.
Yeah.
Original air date, 18th of September 1991. Directed by Michael Zinberg. 7th of 9 for him. If you want to hear more about him, go back to the podcast for Good Morning Peoria. This one was written by Donald P. Belisario himself. I'm going to save his bio still for the future. And we got into the cast. Donna Elise, Dr. Donna.
Terry Hatcher.
She was replaced by Mimi Cusick in this episode. This was her only quantum leap.
Wasn't one of the Cusacks dynasty, was she?
No, Kuzyk.
Ah.
She also appeared in things like The Day After Tomorrow, Hill Street Blues, The Littlest Hobo, Murder, She Wrote. She's now 71, still acting. So
well, when she's still...
your criticism has proved unfounded over the decades.
Still trying.
Suzanne Elzinger was played by Amanda Weiss.
Oh yeah, know her.
Her only quantum leap, but she also appeared in things like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Murder, She Wrote, Cagney and Lacey, and I believe she was the primary victim on A Nightmare on Elm Street.
I wouldn't say primary, she was the first.
Initial.
Yes. A very iconic and memorable. She was thrown around the ceiling in a bloody mess.
I think she's had a number of other horror roles off the back
because of that.
well.
Yeah, a bit of a scream queen, perhaps.
She's also still an active actress. She's just turned 63. Actually, after we record, but before we release.
Very good.
Mike was played by a guy called Douglas Roberts. He also appeared in things like Ellie Law, The West Wing, Murder, She Wrote, and one Columbo.
Really?
You'll remember which one.
No doubt.
He was,
but for the audience's benefit.
Okay, he was Linwood Coben in Columbo Likes the Nightlife, the very final Columbo mystery.
Yeah, no idea.
He's now 62, which means when this was recorded, he was...
Younger.
29 or something like that.
Really? Yeah. Okay.
His last screen credit was 2011. Clifford White was played by Robert Prescott.
I recognise Clifford White.
He's been in a lot of things. This was his only Quantum Leap. But he's also appeared in a lot of films, things like Spaceballs, Real Genius.
Now, Real Genius, he was tremendous in that. Sorry to interrupt you, but he plays this great, it's a similar sort of character here. He's great at playing like a bad nerd,
Okay.
like a sort of bully type nerd, if that makes sense. One of my favourite lines from that movie is he says to Val Kilmer that you will rue the day, you know, whatever he done. And Val Kilmer responded, rue the day? Who actually speaks like that? Anyway, okay.
He's also in Michael Clayton with George Clooney. One of my favourites, Burn After Reading. He was in The Sopranos. His most recent credit is for voice work on the very popular Red Dead Redemption video game series, which is made in Scotland.
That's it.
Dundee, I think.
Okay.
Janine Jackson played Kelly. Again, her only Quantum Leap. She also appeared in things like Red Dragon, Jake and the Fat Man, Scrooged, Seinfeld. She's still active as well. Gushy, we know, is played by Dennis Wolfberg. This is the second of his 6. So if you want to hear more about him, go back to episode 1 about Genesis Part 1. You can hear about his bio there. Dr. Beeks was again played by Candy Ann Brown. Second of 2 Quantum Leaps, 0 lines. For more information on her, you can listen to the podcast for Shock Theatre just last week. Well, depends when you're listening to this. Tina was played by Gigi Rice. She looks like a Gigi, didn't she?
Yeah.
This was her only Quantum Leap, probably best known for her recurring role or long-running role in Harry and the Hendersons.
Ah, right.
Also appeared in things like A Night at the Roxbury, Frasier, 2.5 Men, and 1 episode of Columbo.
Oh, yeah, no idea.
Her screen debut as Diane's secretary in Columbo Cries Wolf.
With
Ian Buchanan.
Ian Buchanan, yeah. Good episode.
She's now 58, remains active. So everyone's had a long career. Lastly, the reflection of... This is an interesting one because it throws up a whole lot of questions. The reflection of Captain Tom Jarrett was played by Dean Denton. He also appeared in episode 1, Genesis, playing Captain Tom Jarrett.
Oh, same person.
So how is that possible if he was meant to commit suicide in 1946 and that episode set in 1956?
Ah, yeah. But you changed time, so...
Yeah, but we hadn't changed time yet. Is it giving you a headache?
It has.
Yeah. Anyway, he's also appeared in shows and films like Dallas, The Highwaymen, Devotion. He's now 61, still acting himself.
Good.
Some other odds and sods. Ziggy changes gender, as we noted in this episode, but remains female for the rest of the series. Again, as I mentioned, Al's reference to Sam doing stand-up is not the next episode, but a future one in this series. Some of the leap mechanics don't really seem to fit with what we've seen previously. In terms of things that we learned, so the date at Project Quantum Leap, as of the start of Season 4, 18th September 1999, 8 years to the day after that episode aired.
Ah.
And Al's date of birth, 15th of June 1934. Do you have anything else for that one?
I thought it was June the 14th. The 15th?
15th.
Okay. I'm not sure where you get 1934 from. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Maybe I missed that. In terms
Go back and watch the whole episode again.
In terms of what we learned now, that Project Quantum Leap is based under a glowing mountain.
Okay, it's kind of in the opening credits, but yeah.
Yeah. So some trivia, let me see. Yeah, Ernie Pyle.
Yes, you promised us.
He was mentioned, a Pulitzer Prize-winning American journalist and war correspondent who is he's best known for his stories about ordinary American soldiers during the Second World War. He died in 1945, aged just 44 in a Japanese attack with machine guns. So pretty messy way to go. But here's the thing, you mentioned earlier on, I think, about Tom, how old he looked. I would ask anyone to quickly have a go and look in Wikipedia. Have a look at Ernie Pyle. He died at the age of 44. He's younger than me.
Just 5 years younger, yeah.
5 years away. He could pass for my father. Honestly, I can't believe how old people look back in the day. Look at his picture. He's balding. And
it's part of our ongoing series of people looked old back in the day.
If you told me he was 66, I would have absolutely no problem in believing that. 44 years old? Are you kidding me?
Okay.
He's an old man.
He's dead and you're beating up on how he looks.
No, I'm just saying it. So, please, everyone, go and have a look at Ernie Pyle on Wikipedia and tell me if that looks like a 44-year-old. There's 44-year-olds still playing sports at a high level a day. Go away, 44.
In respective on this date, I've got 15th of June 45, Judy Garland, married Vincente Minnelli.
I was going to say that myself, yeah.
Anything else? Any hit records for us?
No, the UK didn't have a chart chart in the 19...
During the war.
Well, I don't think the pop charts were
Okay.
around till the 50s. But in America, the number one was Les Brown and his Band of Renown, but featuring Doris Day with Sentimental Journey, and I think that was her first number one.
Fantastic. Any other thoughts?
Nope.
So, next time we will have Play Ball, where Sam has some baseballing to do. So we will see you in 1961.
Until then,
Cheerio.
bye-bye.